the tragedy that we've experienced and also the storms that we've experienced. And for me, it feels really good to arrive here and be able to center with one another tragedy that we've experienced and be able to kind of bring a little bit of attention and focus on what each of our hearts and souls needs to recuperate from the week and to do the work that we want to bring into the world. As usual, I want to invite everybody to lean into this platform. We are continuing to congregate on Zoom. If possible, when possible, invite you to turn on your camera so we can see one another. I invite all of us to be fully self-expressed, use the chat respectfully with one another, offer each other greetings, welcome one another, share words of Torah, insights. Please feel free. Feel free to toggle back and forth between speaker view and gallery view. Sometimes it's really nice to see everybody's faces, and sometimes in order to focus on the prayer, to move into speaker view. This Shabbat, we begin an entirely new book, the book of Vayikra, which has within it the Holiness Code and starts us with the list of different sacrifices. For me, it's always important to understand that while the English word sacrifice, which means to make something sacred, is not quite what the Hebrew means, which is karban, which means drawing close. And to me, it invites a sense of intimacy with one another and with the divine. And so in a lot of ways, we had the opportunity to draw close to one another today. It is my pleasure to introduce our co-service leader this evening. I'm going to actually invite Haley to bring Rebecca Goldsmith on Zoom with me. Rebecca, it's great to see you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi Josh.
So I want to introduce someone who's been a friend of our congregation in many different ways, Rebecca Goldsmith. And as you will hear in her bio that I'm going to share with you, she has much in common with so many of us, and I believe holds many of the core values and sees a lot of Jewish creativity in ways that we do, and I think in ways that we have much to learn. So I'm very excited. While she's co-leading with me tonight, in 2 weeks, she will be leading on her own in the beginning of April. And so we'll be welcoming her back as well. Rebecca, to share a little bit about her to you, has been channeling her passion for voice, for justice, and for community as a facilitator, as a song leader, as a vocal coach, and a ritualist for over a decade. She believes in the sacredness and liberatory power of the collective voice and regularly bears witness to the transformation that happens when people sing together. And I know that's something that we appreciate and have experienced as well. And that on this platform, envisioning that and recreating that has been something we've been working towards. Rebecca is happiest and most fully alive when she is singing in a group and has made it her life's work to reconnect people to their own voices, which is something that we have talked about how we can do on Zoom and have this relationship with our voice. Rebecca leads prayer and Jewish song. She directs community choirs, facilitates vocal improvisation-based retreats, and she runs a voice coaching studio. She has worked with people of all ages in Jewish congregations, in schools, in camps, retreats, workshops, and assisted living communities. Rebecca was the vocal arts consultant for the Rising Song Institute, which, if you remember, Gayan was one of their first fellows as part of that program, and is where so much of exciting Jewish music happening right now is emerging from. And so I'm not surprised that Rebecca's talents helped create that container. She's also an alumni of their music residency program. She recently completed her first album, Seeding the Tree, which explores themes of nature, mysticism, ancestry, and the feminine in Judaism. And so while that's all professional, I just also want to share that I met Rebecca Goldsmith through Gayan, and I'll always be indebted to Rebecca for making my wedding with Alessandro so incredibly special. At the time, located in Washington State, and bringing her gifts to both the Jewish and the music scene of Seattle and the Northwest, Rebecca recommended a duo who performed the amazing combination of bluegrass sounds of the North Pacific, Brazilian traditional popular music, including bossa nova and samba, with some classical Jewish standards. But yet there was more. Then a friend of theirs joined them from Berlin, who is one of Germany's most well-known Yiddish singers and teachers of Jewish folk dances. And so in some kind of magic way, where I felt like Rebecca held that container, it made our wedding the cross-cultural music celebration beyond our imagination, which ended up with folk dancing with indigenous tribes and with us teaching our Jewish folk dancing. And so it was even more wonderful to have Rebecca with us there celebrating. And so I thought tonight that we would begin with a taste of Rebecca's music. At the Edge of the World, a song inspired by a Reb Nachman sacred mystical story from her album, Seeding the Tree. If you want to receive this music by closing your eyes, please do so. And I invite us as we kind of walk to the edge of Shabbat to receive the edge of the world.
At the edge of the world stands a mountain. At the top lies a rock. From this rock flows a spring. At the other edge of the world stands the heart of the world, yearning for the spring. The space between the spring and the heart is impossibly wide, impossibly far. How can love survive? If the heart moves toward the mountain, she will no longer see the summit, no longer see her beloved spring, and she will die. Instead, she gives the spring the only gift she has to give, one sacred, precious day of time. The space between the spring and the heart is impossibly wide, impossibly far. Will their love survive? All days do end, even holy days like this. When dusk comes, the lovers know it's time. Just when the spring is dripping away and the heart is nearly broken, the world is slowing to its final resting place. The space between the spring and the heart is impossibly wide, impossibly far. Has love the kindnesses into the wind, giving the heart and the spring one more day. The spring burst with water and song. It spreads this love on the heart, this healing water flows through the heart of the world, spreads across the body of the earth. The essence of time is kindness. The essence of love is kindness. The essence of the whole world is kindness.
So I appreciate that Shabbos gift. It makes me believe Olam Chesedi Baneh, that the world is built on kindness, that essence emerging. And speaking of kindness, I want to really welcome everybody to Congregation Beit Chaverim. I saw that we have people joining us from Toronto here on Zoom, so I want to give you a warm welcome, and all of you who are joining us outside of Atlanta, thank you for being here, and I want to welcome everybody on YouTube right now. Please drop us a message where you're from. Let us respond and wish you a Shavua Tov on the other side of Shabbat. And glad that you're with us, and please participate in any way that moves you with us. We're going to begin with our Shabbat candle lighting. Alan Sugar, tonight's candles, and Rebecca will lead us in the blessing.
להדליק נר של שבת, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת. Amen. They say, let me say first, Shabbat Shalom. Now, they say that during the days of the temple, when the sacrifices of the animals would create smoke, it would move sideways as it blew into the air. And it was only when the Kohanim would sing that the smoke would go up to the heavens. The act of the mundane into the holy with voice. So too, we experience this on Shabbat when we move from daily time into sacred, holy time. And we do so with Kabbalat Shabbat, this beautiful, beautiful service that requires our voices to sing prayers and praise and welcoming into this beautiful space, this holy space of peace. May we all sing and welcome Shabbat together. Ay, 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 ay. Come into my garden. Boi legani. Ay, 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 ay. Boi legani. Ay, 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 ay. Ya, la, ya, 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 la. Ay, 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 ay. Ya, la, ya, 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 la.
So, friends, we move into Shalom Aleichem as we welcome Shabbat with us. You'll find the blessing on page 13.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon. Mi melech Malachi Hashamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon. Mi melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni leshalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon. Mi melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitchem leshalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon. Mi melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
As we greeted the Shabbat, we take an opportunity to wish one another a good Shabbos as we move into our breakout rooms. As I was saying earlier, this Torah portion and understanding that the sacrificial system was a way where people could draw near. I was wondering, what are the ways that, thinking about last week's Torah portion, where people brought offerings with a sense of a generous heart, what are the ways that we have been able to be generous-hearted in this past week? And so as you introduce each other in the breakout rooms, if there's a way that you've been that you've felt your own generous heart, or you've been the recipient of someone's generous heart, I invite you to share that, and then we'll join back together in a few moments. And please, if you're on YouTube, add those words in the chat. Take good care. We'll see you momentarily. Hello, friends who stayed in the main room. How is everybody doing?
Hello. Sorry, I got pulled away when we got the instructions to go to the room, so I felt like I didn't want to go to the room because I didn't know what the instructions were. So, hi. You hear me? I'll start my video. Sorry, that's a picture of my cat.
Hey, Lisa, how are you?
I'm good.
How was the end of your week since I saw you? Maybe
It was good. Today was busy. My boss left early to go get his first vaccine shot. So I'm hardly ever at the office by myself, and all these people started asking me questions and things. I was like, I don't know. Wait till Doug gets back. So I was like, I'm good. Thank you. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. It was good to see Jack yesterday. Seems calm and getting ready for his bar mitzvah, so that's exciting.
One of his superpowers is appearing very mature for other grown-ups.
I mean, I have to say that he has been one of the most delightful people to work with. As I was trying to tell him, I appreciate his sense of humor. I appreciate his dry kind of, but he was so participatory and so wonderful. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's one of the reasons why I say
to teach.
Sorry, Jada.
Sorry, I was just seconding what you said about Jack being a pleasure to teach.
I mean, it's why I always believe that it's great for kids to have other responsible adults in their lives.
Yeah.
There are things that we get to see that parents don't.
Yep. Yeah. No, he's fun. He has such deep thoughts about things. He really knows how to have a conversation with grown-ups about stuff. I mean, it's even as a little kid, I remember him on the playground at CBH during the break one time on a Sunday, and one of the Madrahim, he was talking to the Madrahim about physics, and he was like this high school kid, right? He was like, what is this third grader talking to me about physics? It was kind of funny. So, yeah.
I think I was just going to say people are about to arrive in any moment. Hi, Amy. Shabbat shalom.
Hello, Shabbat shalom. President Biden's helicopter entourage is like all over the place in our neighborhood. It's very exciting. I want to go wait for him and wait. I don't know what I want to do. It's very exciting. It's loud and
I guess he's coming to speak to the Asian community this evening. I thought it was going to be this morning.
He's leaving now. He arrived at about 1:45 at the airport, across the street from us, and he went to the CDC and also to speak to the Asian community.
Wonderful.
He made a speech about an hour ago. Mm-hmm. He and Kamala Harris made a wonderful speech.
Wonderful. So, Haley muted me just for fun. I was just saying that welcome back, everybody, and we are going to begin our Psalms with Rebecca.
So I want to offer this kavanah as we begin Lechuna Ranana, this invitation of ecstasy to sing and praise. This comes from Isaiah, and it also comes from the morning prayers. And all open their mouths in holiness and purity, in song and melody, blessing and praising, lovingly giving each other permission to sanctify the source of all being with delight. I see that my sound is low. Hold on one second. I'm going to raise my sound. Thank you for that. Is my sound better now? Does that work better now? I can't tell if you can hear me better.
That is a yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Wonderful. Thank you for that. And all open their mouths. These are angels. Open their mouths in holiness and purity, in song and melody, blessing and praising, lovingly, giving each other permission to sanctify the source of all being with delight. with crystal language and sacred song, all answering as one, speaking, singing with awe. Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. Holy, holy, holy Adonai Tzevaot, Melochol haaretz kevodo, filling the whole world with awe. So if you can imagine, and you don't have to imagine because you can go on to gallery view and see these angels who are beside us. And imagine that the angels who are spoken about here, even these perfect beings, needed and wanted each other to give permission to sing. So take a look around at this room, or imagine the people in this room, even imagine one person, and give them permission to sing. Give me permission to sing. May we all fill the world with awe. L'chuna Ranana is on page 21. And it's just the first two lines. L'chuna Ranana L'Adonai Nariya Letzor Yishenu Nekadema Fanav Betoda Bizmirot Nariyalo Yalalai 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 Yai lai 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 ya la lai 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 ya la lai yai yai ya la lai yai lai ya la lai yai lai yai lai 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 la la lai 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 lechune ranena L'Adonai Nariya Letzor Yishenu Nekadema Fanav Betoda Bizmirot Nariyalo.
So friends, we join together L'Chadodi. You'll find it on page 41.
Lecha, lecha dodi, lecha dodi, likrat, likrat, kala, likrat kala, pene, pene, Shabbat, pene, Shabbat, nekabela. From the Zohar, they walked and reached a mountain as the sun was setting. The branches of the trees of the mountain began to hit one another, singing a song to welcome Shabbat. Shamor vezachor bedibur echad Hishmiyanu el hamyuchad Adonai echad Ushemo echad Leshem ultiferet Velitila Lecha Lecha Dodi Lecha Dodi Likrat Likrat Kala Likrat Kala Pene
Penei Shabbat, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki bachorech kumi uri, 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 shir daberi, kevod Adonai, halayich nigla, lecha, lecha, dodi, lecha, dodi, likrat, likrat, kala, likrat, kala, penei, penei, Shabbat, penei, Shabbat, nekabela. Yamin ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תעריצי, על יד איש בין פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה לך, לך דודי, לך דודי, לקראת, לקראת כלה, לקראת כלה, פני, פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, לך, לך דודי, לך דודי, לקראת, לקראת כלה, לקראת כלה, פני, פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה.
Friends, I invite you to rise either in body or spirit. So we turn to page 55 for the Chatzi Kaddish. Yikadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon v'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagala, bagala, uvizmahan kahariv, vimeru, amen. Yeheshmei rabo mevorach, leolam leomei omaya yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, Vitadar, vitale, vitalahal, shmei kudesha brichu, liela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushvechata v'nechemata, da'amihiran be'alma, vimeru, amen. We open ourselves to the source of blessing and offer to bless that very source. We turn to page 57 for the Baruch Hu. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruchu et Adonai, ha-mevorach, ha-mevorach. Baruch Adonai, ha-mevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai, ha-mevorach leolam va'ed. We continue with Asher Bivaro. We have an alternative reading I'd like to invite Rabbit to offer by Mary Oliver called Real Prayers Are Not the Words, but the Attention That Comes First.
Hey. Right. Apologies if my connection is terrible, but here we go. The little hawk leaned sideways, and tilted rode the wind. Its eye at this distance looked like green glass. Its feet were the color of butter. Speed obviously was joy. But then so was the sudden, slow circle it carved into the slightly silvery air, and the squaring of its shoulders, and the pulling into itself the sharp-edged wings, and the falling into the grass where it tussled a moment, like a bundle of brown leaves, and then, again, lifted itself into the air, that butter color clenched in order to hold a small, still body. And it flew off as my mind sang out, oh, all that loose, blue rink of sky, where does it go to, and why?
Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El Chai, v'kayam tamid, yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch ata Adonai, hamariv aravim. Page 61. Page 61. Ahavat Olam, we are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us, even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love.
Friends, as we say the Shema, which we find on 65, I invite us to close our eyes and see if we are able to receive that sense of unending love. Allow us to offer that sense of unending love as we recognize the oneness that binds us all. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. V'ahavta ha'ehit Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantaham levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'leftecha v'derech u'shafbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu latotafot b'hineinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'v'sha'arecha. We continue on page 79 with the Mi Chamocha in this call and response.
Mi chamocha,
Mi Chamocha,
Ba'elim Adonai,
Ba'elim Adonai,
Mi kamocha,
Mi Kamocha,
Nedar ba'kodesh,
Nedar ba'kodesh,
Nora,
Nora,
Tehilot,
Tehilot,
Osei,
Osei,
Felem,
Felem,
Malechutecha,
Malechutecha,
Ra'u vanecha,
Rahu vanecha,
Bokei hayam,
Bokei hayam,
Lifnei Moshe u'Miriam,
Lifnei Moshe u'Miriam,
Zeli,
Zeli,
Anu ve'ameru,
Anu ve'amru,
Adonai imloch,
Adonai imloch,
Leolam va'ed,
Leolam va'ed.
V'ne'emar, Kifada Adonai et Yaakov, Ugalo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch ata Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
Amen. So friends, as we prepare to say the Hashkivenu this evening, you'll find the Hashkivenu on page 80 and 81. I just wanted to take a moment. I didn't think we could really move into our sense of Shabbat without recognizing kind of the whole canopy that we hope to extend. For me, this is a moment to recognize that there are true ways to kind of create a sense of what we hope to see in the world, where everybody has a place under this canopy, and then recognizing that often that is not the case. We have focused a great deal on the anti-Semitism that we've experienced, and we have felt and we have lived the ways that anti-Semitism has been on the rise. And when we look at the Asian American and the Pacific Islander communities here in Atlanta and in our country, those numbers have risen over 150% of the hate crimes and violence that have been perpetrated against them. And so, it's one of those ways where I had an experience this week where lots of people from the Jewish community called me to help direct them to potential resources. And to be honest, while I have individual friends, I'm not someone who is connected. And so once again, we find ourselves at needing to make relationships, having needed to make them earlier than we have. And in this moment, we really end up setting intentions rather than being able to fully be able to kind of step into what is needed. But what I do know, and what I think is accessible for us, and as a community that is multiracial, multi-ethnic, that embraces the fullness of those in our community, we have Asian American Jews who are part of our congregation. And we should know that often Asian American Jews don't always feel welcome in our Jewish community, and that we as a Jewish community have work to do to expand our canopy, even within our own community and perhaps in our own congregation. So many Asian people who are part of Jewish interfaith families have painful stories about their experiences in predominantly white Jewish communities. Rabbi Angela Bookdahl has talked about even when she was leading services at Hillel, the service leader, people would come up and ask her afterwards if she was Jewish, having just led Shabbat services. And so this week, Rebecca Kuss writes in Hey Alma that she grew up thinking that she could force people to see me as Jewish first, she writes, when in reality they hated me for being Korean always. There was no ticket, no pass. There was only years and years of denying who I was in order to belong to a community that rejected my mom, that didn't care about me, and who closed ranks the minute I suggested that the story of my Jewish experience and the stories of other Jewish people of color might be different than the comfortable single story of what it means to be Jewish. And while I hope that isn't the experience of people here, I think that we can never be too comfortable in the ways that we might not create room under this canopy of wholeness. And so as we chant Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, let us do more than just offer prayer for a whole canopy, but really find ways to make sure that the voices, the lives are included within our community and beyond.
Hashkivenu, help us, Shekhinah, to sleep peacefully, but also awaken us to life. Shelter us in the shadow of loving wings. May you spread over us a canopy of peace, and may we all feel the divine, holy, sacred welcome, restorative expansiveness of your canopy. Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shelomecha, Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shelomecha. Baruch Ata Adonai, Hapores Sukat Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Amo Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'al Yerushalayim.
So, friends, our alternative Amidah will begin with a chant that invites us to go a bit inwards and to recognize this Jewish teaching that silence can be a form of offering and praise, and that when we cultivate a sense of our own contemplative spirit that is still, that allows some spaciousness, that it is the possibility to hear the still small voice within us.
Kol demama daka kol demama daka kol demama daka kol demama daka.
We connect our silence with a prayer for healing. We take this moment to put in the chat those we pray a refuah shlema, a prayer of healing of body, of mind, and of spirit. I invite you to put their names now, and I'll read the names within our community and our extended circles. Richard Adler, Marilyn Pankin, Maureen Camelson, Richard Cohen, Jenny Williams Cohen, Mario Eugene Hudson II, Lois Birch, Andrea Finn and Bev Corfin, Uli Sprick, Ellie Emmerich Hart, Shai and Billy Nach, Claude Baruch, Jordan and Jamie Schwartz, Tesla Queen, Janice Blackmon, Beth Ann Bootycant, Nancy Davis, Megan Redant, Janice Roger, Pilar Barclay, the Baton Snook family, the Levin family, the Kolbs Reckelman family, Grady Ford Adair, Eyal Schechter, Audrey Galix, Faith Russler, Dolly Wax, Esther Myers, Ellen Leary, Monique Gauthier, Julio Quintana, Jacob Gutman, Rona Crozy, and Patty Marcus.
El na refanala,
Elna refanala, Elna refanala, Elna refanala, Elna refanala, Elna refanala, Elna refanala, Elna refanala, Elna refanala, Elna refanala, Elna refanala, Elna refanala, Elna refanala.
So, friends, we have a special opportunity, special treat for our Devar this evening. I think, in line with many of the Kavanot, I think you'll understand why we made this choice. As I mentioned earlier, Vayikra, this new book of Torah that we read this week, describes the series of sacrifices for different situations. And so it creates a system for the Israelite communities to develop a way to have an intimate relationship with the divine, and one that was especially important because it would outlive Moses, with whom they'd already become reliant and often put their responsibility onto his shoulders. And so in many ways, it began the system of reminding people that they not only had a responsibility, but an opportunity to develop their individual relationship to godliness. And so it was until the destruction of the Second Temple. There was a little hiatus after the destruction of the first as well, that sacrifices were the primary approach for the Israelites to communicate with the divine. And then after the destruction, which occurred nearly 2 millennia ago, we have rabbis and philosophers offer new avenues to cultivate an intimacy with the divine. And one of the things that I want to hold up when we look at the Hebrew rather than the English, that instead of sacrifice, which is often feeling like something that we give up, I think it feels resonant to this time of Passover, where we look at how do we rid the excess in order for there to be a cleaner path to liberation. I think the same thing is what the sacrificial system and looking at the Hebrew language was offering. That really what is being asked is, what do we need to remove? What do we need to get out of the way in order to be in relationship? Sometimes that's our arrogance. Sometimes that is our sense of guilt or shame. Sometimes that's our own anger. And one of the ways that we as human beings are engaged to be in this world is to not only cultivate this relationship by offerings, but to live in the divine image. And bringing these two together, the very act of creativity and offering creation back to the source is a way to, I think, in a contemporary way, draw close. At its root, creativity is not about success and it's not about failure. It is a mystery and it is a spiritual practice to live from the creative center in our everyday life. This is what Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes wrote in The Creative Fire. She is better known for her book, Women Who Run with the Wolves. And so as an offering, creating in any form allows us to move things out of the way and cultivate a more intimate relationship with the divine spark within. And for some of us, the divine spark that exists externally. And so what better than to have an opportunity to be present to an offering that has been created by the Mamalas. And so I want to invite them to join me on the screen and share a little bit about their offering with you this evening. Welcome. Shabbat Shalom.
Hello, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. I love that you are comparing this offering to the kinds of offerings that were made in temple times and in the Mishkan, because I think of those sacrifices as sort of the closest meeting place between the people of Israel and God. They met over these meals. And in so many ways, I think that music is a way that our community comes really close to God. This is our meeting place with God. The song that we're offering tonight is called Hashiveni. The words of the song come from a prayer that I've always associated with High Holy Days, Hashivenu. I can picture myself in the sanctuary at the end of Yom Kippur saying Hashivenu, well, y'all circle in front of the ark. Return us, O God, turn us around, turn us back. In the liturgy, the whole thing is cast in the plural. Renew us, return us. And this communalness has always been such a huge part of how I experience the High Holy Days. I am one of you, one of us, and in the sanctuary, I picture us like an aspen grove where we look like individual trees, but really we are all one organism connected underground. Well, this past fall, this past High Holy Days, I heard a new setting for these words by Rabbi Micah Shapiro that I found just arresting. Not only because the music is beautiful and not only because the singers were astounding, but because he changed one little word. Instead of us, he wrote it as me in the singular. Return me. And when it's cast in the singular, there's this pointedness and this urgency to this plea that I haven't really felt quite that way before. And I think the truth is that I've never quite understood what essential self I was supposed to be returning to. And so maybe I took refuge in the plural. I could hide among the aspens. But this piece of music makes me ask and ask again. Of course, we cannot return altogether unless each of us returns.
So we structured the song to sound like a journey of returning to oneself. We spent a lot of time talking about what this transformation process feels like. It's isolating, it's invigorating, it's confusing, it's freeing. We wanted to find a way to mirror this really vulnerable experience through the music. So we started with Amy's voice alone alongside some really simple piano chords. You can hear the energy grow throughout while our voices are in pretty tight harmony with each other at the beginning. And then we come to the bridge. This is something we added to the original arrangement and developed through improvisation. Just as you can't really script personal transformation, it was a pretty messy process for us to find our way through co-creating this section. Here you'll hear each of us on our own journeys, doing our own things vocally, not focusing too much on the blend, just exploring our own identities while also giving each other space to grow. So then we come back together with a renewed energy and rhythm as the song comes to an end. But we don't tie it up with a nice, pretty chord for a bow. Instead, you're going to hear a bit of dissonance at the end because transformation is bittersweet and returning to yourself is an ongoing process. So with Rabbi Shapiro's blessing, here's an arrangement of Hashiveni, written and performed by Shayna Cohen, Amy Robertson, Will Robertson, and myself. Shabbat Shalom.
Hashiveni ve'ashuva Hashiveni ve'ashuva Chadesh, Chadesh, Chadesh Yameinu kekedem Chadesh,
So, friends, they say sometimes when you're really open and present that Shabbat can be a small taste of Gan Eden, of the paradise of the Garden of Eden. And so I just want to offer an incredible thank you to Rebecca Goldsmith for giving us a taste of that sweetness, and then for it to be deepened by the Mamala's offering, quite extraordinary. And want to thank Shayna and Ariella and Amy for their willingness to share this gift with us. And thank you to Will Robertson, I guess the single Popala, who helped produce this for them as well. It was quite extraordinary. So I hope that the four of you can take that in as you're reading the chat and people are responding. I have the dubious duty of giving announcements this evening. I'm almost convinced that I should do it in the snarky way that I was able to during Purim, but I think that ship has passed. So I will give them a little bit more orderly tonight. First of all, we want to say that we're so glad to host so many friends from around Atlanta and around the country for our virtual services. Thank you for being here. Please feel free to join us for our offerings in this coming week. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., we have Shabbat morning service with Rabbi Gottfried and Susan Levy. Join us at noon on Monday, March 15th, for a lunch and learn with Rabbi Gottfried. Mindful Moments will continue every weekday at 8:45, and 10-minute Minyan continues Saturday through Thursday at 7:45 p.m. Next weekend's services on Friday, March 26th, join us at 6:45 for Shabbat evening services led by Will Robertson and me. You likely know that registration is now open for our Passover Seder. One of the great things about being virtual is that there's room for all of you. So please join us for the second night of Pesach. Both Will and Agatha have been doing an extraordinary job at getting folks to co-lead this Seder, And so we will have a lot of community participation. I think it will be a lot of fun. So registration is available on the CBH website. Check your bet mail for a direct link. You'll be sent the Zoom link to the event once you register. So you have to register in order to be able to participate. Do not wait to the last minute. We're also printing Haggadot. If you would like, they'll be available to pick up. I think pickup is starting this week. So you probably want to register Sunday. You'll be asked how many you'll need when you register. A digital copy of the Haggadah will also be available so that you can print them yourselves as well. Please know that the Food Security Project is looking for fresh faces to deliver food on Friday afternoons. Kind of give us a wave if you have been volunteering and has been a meaningful experience to so many. You are more than welcome to email Rebecca Grapevine at rgrapevine@gmail.com to sign up. If you have questions, Shelley Rose is with us this evening. You can put some questions in the chat. If you're an artist of any sort, be it visual, performing, or other, please consider creating a piece of art for CBH's Red Thread Art Show. You can find details in the bet mail, and our CD with that name can still be purchased. If you have a teen in your life, be sure to sign up to receive the My Ritual box. The first theme is Shabbat. Only 25 boxes are available, so please sign up soon. My understanding is they're almost gone. As a reminder, if you need to contact the CBH staff, the best way to do it is through our emails, not on instant message. We love Facebook and social media, but that's not the primary way that we communicate and check. And just so you know, not to point anybody out, but there were a handful of folks who tried reaching us this way this week. So I know this announcement feels like it gets old, but it still clearly is needed. And as always, for a full view of our offering, please visit the CBH calendar on our website. We have added a section called Passover Resources, which if you're leading Passover on your own for the first night, we have a series of videos that you can access. I have begun curating articles, Haggadot, supplements, and things that will support you in your own leading. And then there are a number of things under COVID resources as well as we start moving to a different understanding. Lastly, I have been writing, which I hope will be weekly. Maybe every now and then I'll take a week off. But Rabbi Josh spills the tea, which is going to be sharing a little bit more about a reflection of this transition, T being for transition, Torah, and transparency. May not be that juicy yet, but it will get juicier, I promise. And so please check that out. It's on the members only section of our website. And I think that's it. If there are any other announcements that people want to make, please put it in the chat. And we're going to conclude our service. Tonight, as an alternative to Aleinu, we're going to chant the words Ein Od, Milvado Ein Od, as we connect with that sense of oneness. The words mean there is nothing but the source. God is God.
Ein od milvado, ein od milvado Adonai, hu Elohim. Ein od milvado, ein od milvado Adonai, hu Elohim. Ein od milvado, ein od milvado Adonai, hu Elohim. Ein od milvado, ein od milvado Adonai, hu Elohim.
Please join us in saying the prayer for the end of hiding, which you'll find in the chat. As LGBTQ Jews, we are aware of the loss of integrity we suffer due to the pressures of the larger society. We often feel forced into a dishonest presentation of ourselves to ourselves and others. The LGBTQ individuals who feel they must pretend to be something that they are not. The Jews who feel they must be alienated from their tradition community to win larger acceptance, both are victims of a theft of identity and integrity committed by the sexual, gender-identifying, or religious majority. Creator of the universe, we ask that our hiding draw to an end, that we no longer feel we have to pretend, to promise falsely, to renounce ourselves, and that our fullest creative expression as Jews and as lesbian, gay, transgender, bisexual, and queer people be among the blessings you bestow upon us. Let us say Amen. We find Mourner's Kaddish on page 131. You'll find the names of those who were tragically murdered this week. Our prayers go out to them as we honor their memories, and prayers of comfort go to their families. I do want to also announce, if anybody would like to join me, I'll be walking down to Liberty Plaza, which is at the Capitol, kind of behind the Capitol, for a rally tomorrow at 1 p.m. in solidarity with the Asian American Pacific Islander community here in Atlanta. And so please feel free to look for me there as well. Please also add any names that you would like to add for folks who are saying Kaddish for a loved one, either for a yortzeit or people who are in period of ritual mourning. Let us add their names now. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. For those who would like to rise, either in body or spirit, please do so. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divrach hirute, bi'amlich malchute, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dachol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehesh me rabba mevorach le'alam omei almaya, yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudsha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehesh lama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen. So friends, as we conclude our service with those last words, I just want to invite us to show a bit of appreciation for our co-service leader, Rebecca Goldsmith. Thank you again. She's going to sing us out with the words, may the one who creates peace in the heights create a sense of harmony for all of us, for the people Israel and the entire world.
Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be so. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, sing with me, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, imru, amen. From the top, move your bodies. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, imru, amen. Hey! Ya-na-na-na-na-na, ya-na-ya-na-na, ya-na-na-na-ya-na-na, ya-na-na-na-ya-na-na, ya-na-na-na-na-na, ya-na-ya-na-na, ya-na-na-na-ya-na-na, ya-na-na-na-ya-na. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yananananai, yanai, yananai, yanananai, yanai, yanananai, yanai, yanananai, yanai, yananai, yanai, yananai, yanai. Oh, say shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, imru, Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. What a pleasure to be with you.
Good Shabbos, everyone.
Good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Shabbos.
That was
Beautiful. Just wonderful.
Shabbat shalom.
Beautiful service. Thank you, Rebecca.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca.